Welcome back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. Richie, we have a massive amount of news to talk about today. 5 commitments coming on the heels of the first official visit weekend of the year. So we just need to hop right in this. First off, did we expect this many commits, like more than 3 coming from this weekend?
No, I know someone asked me for an over under and I'll never do this again. I said 1.5 thinking like, I already know. I know of 1. I know of 2 that's probably going to pop, and it's like, there's probably even 3, so I probably should have set it a little higher. Did not see 5 coming. So yeah, we've been very, very busy, and it's been a little hectic over the past couple of days. So, I mean, great couple of days for Rutgers though.
Yeah, a lot of commitment articles coming out, a lot of reactions, a lot of coaches and family members you probably have had to talk to. So let's just take this in chronological order. So the first kid to commit from this weekend, I believe he committed while he was still on his visit even. So it was Jesse Ofurie. He was a wide receiver out of St. John's Prep in Danvers, Massachusetts. He's a 6'2", 195-pound wide receiver who had a bunch of Ivy League offers, a few FBS offers, but I don't think he had any other Power 5 offers. So what do you see in this kid, and what is Rutgers getting from Jesse Ofurie?
He's a pretty good possession receiver. He's a little bit taller too. He's not your kind of average. It seems like they're average over the past couple of years with like Shameen Jones, Bo Melton, et cetera. We're always like that 5'11", to like 6 foot range. He's probably 6'2", probably pushing that 6'3" range. He's pretty, like I said, a pretty good possession guy. He looks solid in his tape. I don't actually know much about St. John's Prep, so I can't talk about his competition up there. His numbers wise, he put up 800 something yards last year as a receiver. The only issue is 220 of those came in one game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like 220 of those in 4 scores in one game. So, I mean, it's a great stat. But I don't know the competition wise in Massachusetts in general. I actually might be seeing him Friday. I don't know if he'll 100% be there, but they're having a big New England camp up in Springfield College on Friday, the former college of Heatherman and Harris Simiak. So, of course, Rutgers' entire staff is going to be there as well. That's one of their quote-unquote satellite camps. So I'll be up there watching with a bunch of other, I'm sure, analysts from around the region. They're expecting a ton of New England guys. I'm assuming he's going to be there. I really don't know, though, for sure. I know a couple Holy Trinity guys were supposed to go up, too. We'll see. Maybe Braithwaite will show up or Josiah Brown, et cetera. But overall, I mean, he's also he's faster than you think. Like he ran a 6.61 55-meter dash. I don't know if it translates to like a great time, but it's pretty solid. It's not like a Fitzroy Legister type time who's breaking all these records in state right now for St. Peter's Prep. But yeah, I mean, he seems like a pretty good player. He loved everything about his visit. He did commit after the visit. He was in the airport at the time and he just decided to tweet it. He was supposed to wait until after, but these timelines with these kids just are never accurate. So what are you going to do? I mean, a decent get for Rutgers. My only concern is I know other people brought it up is BC is right there and BC didn't offer. So it makes you question it a little bit. But then you look at Rutgers and you look at New Jersey and it's like Denver offered Bonsu. They never offered I forget who else. Some other top 5 guy. James Hurd, maybe was it? Or
I don't know. They didn't offer this safety who went to Notre Dame.
Oh, Don Schuler. And it's like, yeah. So as much as you want to question it, you can't question it too much. So you kind of just got to trust the staff's judgment on here and kind of go from there. It seems like a decent get, though.
So moving right along, the second commit of the weekend was a linebacker out of Florida. His name's Abram Wright. He's 6'2", 218 is what his profile is listed at. He goes to Fleming Island High School in Fleming Island, Florida. What do you think about this kid?
I actually kind of like him. The only downside is if you watch his tape, I don't know if he can play anywhere besides inside linebacker. I don't think he's quick enough to do that sideline to sideline type stuff that like guy like Fadokasi had that kind of speed and that kind of just, I don't even know, instinct, I guess, at that point. But I mean, they obviously they have needs for linebackers, so it can't hurt to bring him on. He was going to go to Duke next weekend, so it's big for him to cancel that visit and then end up just committing to Rutgers right on the spot. I have a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to Fleming Island, just because Trey Sneed was hyped up to be such a good player and just wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the last time that Rutgers has landed one of those guys. So I do think he could be a solid player. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. I don't know if he has if he could bulk up and play DN. I don't think so, but it seems like he's just strictly an inside linebacker. So if they can manage to keep him there, it might be a decent get. If not, it's one of those wait and see things.
Yeah, it's a little interesting to not take a kid from Florida whose number one trait is speed, because that seems to be the first thing you almost always talk about Florida kids. So
yeah, it's a little different, but I mean, they pretty much pushed for his commitment. It happened, and like I said, the Duke, you canceled. You just beat out Duke pretty much. A high academic kid too, as well, I should say.
it's always good to hear that. Moving right along, the next kid's also a kid from Florida. His name's Mozell Williams. This is a kid, I believe you guys put a future cast in the day before his official visit or during his official visit. But he's a 6'6" offensive tackle out of Hawthorne High School in Hawthorne, Florida. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so I mean, he's right away. You look at the size. This is what Rutgers wants. They want massive offensive linemen, 6'6", 330, but he moves really well for a guy his size. I actually think he's kind of criminally underrated at 5.5 with us. I think he should be at least a 5.6, if not higher. For someone that's 330 or that's per his tape, he just moves very quickly and he's quick on his feet. I'm actually a little shocked that most of these Florida schools didn't like go after him a little more. Like, I know we got like the FAU, the FIU, the South Florida, but like if you're like a Miami or like maybe not Miami. Miami's kind of recruiting at a different level right now, but Florida State even like they're kind of like at that level too. I mean, I would have like at least brought this kid in the camp and see what he can bring and see what he does before as a potential offer guy and go from there. But it's a solid get for Rutgers. He's 100% a Power 5 guy in my opinion. And it just improves the offensive line group and gets them bigger up front. And that's kind of been a narrative with this coaching staff since Shiano's been back. You want to get bigger up front and bigger in the trenches, and that's how you're going to win games.
Yeah, and the kind of common theme with a lot of these kids that we've got this weekend, that they're just not, they're either under recruited or underrated, it seems. So they're doing a lot of mining for diamonds in the rough. Would you say that these are mostly plan B kids, or are these kind of, we didn't really have a firm plan A, plan B this year?
It's tough. If I'm being honest, a couple of these are plan B. That's 100%. I don't think there's any question about it. I think Rutgers shot for the stars, and rightfully so. It seems like they had a pretty good chance at guys like Hakeem Williams and Santana Fleming and a couple other like big name guys. It obviously didn't work out. So Mozell Williams, I think, just got offered like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it kind of just transpired really quickly. They found his tape. They thought he was good. Got him on campus immediately. Boom, done. Filet Nakukin. Or no, I think that's how you say it. Nakukin. I don't know. Same thing. Offered him a month or 2 ago. Loved his tape. Followed up. Kept showing interest. Boom, got him. Done. Dante Barone was offered. I think he committed a week later. So I mean, I wouldn't say it's plan A, but it's not a bad thing either, because some of these dudes are just they're pretty good. Like I actually like Mozell Williams a lot. One we didn't talk about yet, Dominic Rivera. I think I love that kid.
Yeah, let's get right into him. So he's the 4th commit of the weekend. Dominic Rivera is an offensive tackle out of Olmstead Falls High School in Olmstead Falls, Ohio. He's 6'8", 315, another massive guy. Tell us a little bit about him.
So, I mean, right away, same thing, 6'8", 315. That's a legit size right there. He's just huge. He's ginormous. Like if you look at him, some of his tape, you can see he's bigger than everyone on the field by far. Olmstead has never produced a Power 5 guy, so this is a first for them, but he is a very good player. If you watch his junior tape to his like recent little combine thing he put on Twitter, I think we just mentioned it off the air. He just looks like a completely different player. He's very athletic for 6'8". Like he moves around really well. Similar to like Mozell Williams, he's got great footwork and he looks good. So that's going to be the big thing with these tackles, getting athletic up front, but also getting bigger up front. So this one I like a lot. He's a top 30 kid in Ohio. The other note that I also told you before we got on camera, his head coach told me every single Power 5 that came into the school to check him out has offered him on the spot. So that's Boston College, that's Iowa State, that's Rutgers, that's Syracuse. There's also others, obviously G5s and stuff like that, but not many Power 5s go to this school because it's like off the beaten path, and it's just like, hey, they don't produce. Why do we have to bother? Rutgers did their homework, looked him up, found him, got him on campus a couple months later, and here we are with another massive offensive lineman.
Yeah, and that's been the trend over Shiano's offensive line recruiting the last 2 years. Is we didn't have size. The first thing you got to have in the Big Ten is size on offensive line.
Yeah, someone posted on the board. There's like a whole like chart of like the offensive line before Shiano commits and then after Shiano, and they're just all like 6'5" plus. Obviously, there's like a couple different ones. Like Kobe Asamoah is not 6'5" by any means. Gus Winston 6'5", but yeah, I mean, if you're playing center, I guess you can kind of go down a little bit. But for the most part, these guys are huge. Like they are massive, and even in the portal, like Curtis Dunlap, he's huge. Like Island Brown, or not Island Brown. Well, he was a transfer, but
Willie Tyler, JD
Dorenzo. It's just Holland Pierce. I know not a transfer, but it's massive dudes. This O line's not going to look the same that it did when Greg was first here, and he knows you got to build by winning up front, and by winning up front, you got to get bigger up front, and so it's a start.
Yeah, sure is. Final commit of the weekend though was Jason Duclona, which happened today actually. He's a cornerback out of Estero High School in Estero, Florida. He's 6'1", 170. An interesting wrinkle about him is his brother is actually also a 23 recruit, and he's committed currently to Cincinnati. So tell us a little bit about Jason Duclona.
So yeah, I got them confused multiple times already. Jason Jonas, it's the same exact like 5 letters.
Yep.
Put it like that. It's just very confusing. They don't even go to the same school, which I thought was a little bizarre, but we posted about that on the boards already. Jason though is a multi-sport athlete. He's a track guy, a basketball player. I think he had over 1,000 points, if I saw that correctly, on one of those Ohio websites. He's a pretty good hoops player too. I think he supposedly averaged like over 16, 17 like that points per game. So not a bad like basketball player. And I always love having the hoops players on the team just because they have just such raw athleticism, especially like a jumping ability too. And to double up on that, when he's also something, I forget where he finished in a long jump as a junior. I read it before. He finished somewhere like one of the state qualifiers or something for the long jump as a high school track guy. So he's just a crazy good athlete. I know we have him listed at cornerback, but like if you watch his tape, he plays both. Like he plays wide receiver and cornerback. Rutgers likes him at corner, obviously, but I wouldn't be shocked if this is one of those guys that Rutgers might be kind of fighting back and forth to see which side of the ball he's better on. He's quick, he's athletic, he could jump. If he does have the hands, might be able to see on his tape, I wouldn't be shocked if he's at receiver when it's all said and done. But at the same time, some pretty good offers. You beat out some pretty good schools. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Power Fives, 10 Power Fives. He also had a couple Midwest offers. Like I know Illinois was after him pretty hard, and they are actually thought to be one of the front runners because his brother was going to Cincinnati, which I guess is close but not close. It's interesting though. He did give us an interesting quote at the end where he said, "I'm 100% committed to Rutgers right now." So it's something you got to watch. It's a Florida kid. It happens all the time. We see the decommitments. We already saw one in this class with the Florida guy and Christopher Johnson. So you do have to watch out for that. So I don't think schools are just going to stop recruiting him because he's committed to Rutgers. So it's something you got to keep a really close eye on, and you just got to stay on top of them. Now they've won these battles recently in Amarion Brown, for example. So it is possible to win them, but they just have to just stay on top of this kid nonstop. And I think they have a good shot of landing him still.
Yeah, this one seems like if I had to pick one guy that's going to be the hardest from this batch of commitments to hold on to, it'd be him.
Yeah, 100%.
So it was a big recruiting weekend. We had a bunch of visitors. I think we had an additional like 7 or 8 on top of the kids who committed. What are you hearing anecdotally from the other kids who visited this past weekend?
So the other kids are all kind of have other visits planned as of right now, and it doesn't seem like they're going to cancel those. Obviously, the big name, Chase Basantis, is still going to go to Michigan State this weekend. I wouldn't be shocked if it just ended there. I do know he says he wants to take all his visits, which means AKA an LSU one the weekend after. I don't know if it gets that far. Michigan State's been on him for quite some time. He loves Michigan State. Mel Tucker's been killing it on the recruiting trail, as much as it pains me to say that. They have a big NIL fund, and it's not a secret. I've had a high school coach call me today and ask me like, "Hey, what you know why Michigan's getting all these kids?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, I heard that. I just wanted to see if you heard the same thing." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I mean, if you have NIL, it's not that hard right now." So that's what's happening there. Christian Williams, a Virginia kid, he's going to Virginia Tech next week, not this weekend, next weekend. It's tough to pull kids out of Virginia, especially when Virginia Tech just got new staffs. They got that new juice, that new recruiting juice. So I think Brett Pry is going to do pretty well down there. He's already doing pretty well, I should say, but that one's going to be a tough haul. Tommy Kinsler, as much as I love the fact that he was here last weekend as an unofficial visitor, then the official visitor the weekend before, this past weekend, I just don't know if you can snag that kid out of Florida. If Florida or Florida State or Miami really want you and you're a Florida kid, I don't really see most of those guys ever leaving a state for one of those schools. I'm trying to think who else. Calvin Smith, a Florida kid, came up here. He was also at Pittsburgh the weekend before. He's defensive end. He sounded like he liked to visit a lot from what I was told, but these Florida kids are going to take a couple more visits. Dylan Gooden's recruitment, who his dad was a Piscataway native at one point. I don't know if he still is or not. That's an interesting one. I think it's super early. I don't think he wants to push anything. I do think it's great they got him on campus this early. Even if you do get a commitment, I think that's one you got to really watch because schools are going to push for him hard.
Yeah, why do you think he doesn't have any other visits planned at the moment?
I don't know. I found that one a little bizarre. He's very quiet, very keeps everything to himself, close to vest. I don't really know. I was told he is trying to schedule a Miami and a Michigan State visit, so we'll see if those end up happening. But he might just be quiet about it, and you'll pop up on his Instagram feed one day, and I'll just be like, "Hey, here's the little location emoji, East Lansing," something like that. He's very quiet with that stuff. Going through the others, we'll go quickly. Ted Grigori. I know a lot of people think Rutgers was going to land him immediately. I posted in the War Room on Friday. Ivy Leagues are pushing him heavy, and he's really, really considering it. And I can never blame a kid for that. I think he's got, I'm looking now, he's got Columbia, Dartmouth, Harvard, Princeton, Yale. So, I mean, how do you turn down an Ivy League at the end of the day?
It's easy to say that in your 20s or 30s, but when you're 17, it's the scope of what it means to have that Ivy League degree doesn't really set in.
Yeah, it's tough, and honestly, they've produced a couple of good players over the past couple of years, whether it be via transfer portal or them transferring out and going to Power 5, or them even making the league. There's a couple of them in the league now, so it is interesting. But that's one to keep an eye on. Rodney Laura still has Michigan, Virginia, North Carolina. I don't see him coming here. He's another one that keeps it close to vest, so we probably won't hear much from him. Spoke to his coach the other day, and it does sound like he's probably leaning towards staying closer to home. Virginia might be able to lock that one up this week. Kendall Johnson has Duke this weekend. I'll keep an eye there. Duclona, like I said, was supposed to visit Illinois next weekend. Not going to happen anymore as of now. So we'll see what happens. And Davon Fuse was on campus. So
yeah, I kind of wanted to hear more about him.
Yeah, big FU to Pitt, and it's just we're keeping him. Go fuck yourself. And it sounds like he's solid. Will he stay? I don't know. I think he's pretty solid right now. It sounds like his family loves Rutgers. They love Shiano. They love the staff. So it's good for Rutgers to get him back on campus and get him a little more confident and kind of see what happens from there.
So thanks for running through all that, because we did have a lot of visitors. We don't have an official visit weekend this weekend, but we do have official visits next week. Just give us a quick preview of who might be on commit watch next week.
So Brandon Wisloski, running back out of Pennsylvania. I think he's actually a pretty good athlete. I actually think we have him listed as athlete technically. But I think Rutgers likes him as running back, better at running back than anything else. He seems pretty quick. He's fast. He plays for he plays at Catawissa, Pennsylvania, out of Southern Columbia.
Yep.
I think that's Julian's Fleming school, if I recall correctly.
That is, yep.
Yeah. So I mean, they produce some talent there. It's a good name to watch. I want to say Fama Toure, but after seeing him last Wednesday at Monmouth and literally like all over the Illinois coaches, I don't know if that happens. And it's a little crazy to say. But it depends. If he doesn't commit after that visit to Illinois this upcoming weekend, maybe then I'll be more confident in Rutgers. I know we still have a future cast in, I think, for him to go to Rutgers, or we actually didn't put it in yet, but there you go. It will be in there at some point, I think. It's going to be interesting because that Illinois staff was loving him. And they've been snagging a couple Jersey guys. They got Zach Amlin. They got the quarterbacks, obviously, and Sikowski, Leary. I feel like they have someone else, too. I can't remember. Sounds like they have a good chance at Sabor Kareem, who's a West Orange kid. So they're doing well in Jersey. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be one to watch there. After that, Dylan Wade, Tosin Babalade. Tosin Babalade might, I don't know if he'll make the visit or not. It's going to be interesting because it sounds like South Carolina put quite the push on him. Namdi Udiogu. I think Rutgers has a really good chance at him. He just came off a Vanderbilt visit. Georgetown Prep, Keontae Hamilton has been talking to him quite a bit. They went to the same school, obviously. Big defensive tackle. Who's the last one? There's one more. Bo Mascow. I don't know if he'll even end up making a visit, to be honest, because like I said, some of these Florida kids are very flaky. Rutgers was like very high on his list. Then Iowa offered, and that's where things got a little more interesting. Interestingly enough, he's taking a Marshall visit too. So I guess it kind of depends on how high he is on Iowa's board. So I guess we'll kind of see, but I don't know if Rutgers could beat out Iowa for him right now. So I'm just being honest. I know people are going to yell. And then Valena Kukin, he's going to be on the campus for his first official first trip to campus ever as a recruit and now as a commit.
Nice. So yeah. Just a ton of good stuff going on right now. Camp season's still going. I think Rutgers has a few more camps on campus over the next couple of weeks. And then training camp starts in July, right?
I hope not. No, August, thank God.
August, okay.
Yeah,
So
everyone takes a break in July. I got stuff to do, like, got vacation planned, just like the coaching staff. I take my little vacation. July 27th, we got the email today, Big Ten Media Day. So we'll be out in Indianapolis. Yeah, Lucas Oil Stadium. We'll see how that goes. Talk to Greg, talk to some of the players, and then that's kind of it right now. It's not quiet. It's pretty exciting, but very tiring.
I can imagine. But guys, thanks for tuning in once again. There's a lot of information in this one, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. But for the rest of us here, it's been another edition of the Knight Report podcast. Signing off.